what's going on guys, it's Flourish here and welcome back to another comic book video on the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be continuing on with the Batman Who Laughs storyline since the last video did pretty well. Thanks for the support on that by the way. But for those of you that don't want to watch that video, here's a little recap of where we left off. So in the last video, we went over the first two issues of the story, where we're introduced to the Batman Who Laughs, who is a version of Batman mixed with the Joker toxin, and the Grim Knight, who is a version of Batman who uses guns, and the Batman Who Laughs is essentially bringing other variants of Bruce Wayne from other timelines onto this Earth, so he can take their blood and create a serum to make everyone lunatics like he is. And while this is all going on, Joker manages to find the location of the Batcave, shoots himself in the heart, attempting to turn Batman into the Batman Who Laughs so he can at least have a chance against him. But in the end of the second issue, they manage to revive Joker as he tells Batman that the one person who actually knows the plans of the Batman Who Laughs is none other than Mr. James Gordon Jr. himself. Which brings us to the start of the third issue, where we start right where we left off as we're met with Jim Gordon visiting his son James Gordon Jr. to question him about the entire situation to see what he knows and to maybe convince him to help out on the case. But before he even has a chance to bring it up, they start talking about the program that James Jr. is in along with his sentence, which isn't important right now but will be a relevant plot point in the story more down the line. But as they speak, James Jr. thinks that his dad came to see him because he wants to shut down his program, which Gordon denies, and before another word can be said, Batman appears out of nowhere and just interrupts the conversation by telling Jr. that the reason his dad came to see him is about plans to kill the city in 100 different ways. And as you can see in the panels, Batman isn't exactly in control of his mind, with his eyes being red and all, meaning the toxin is in effect, as Batman continues to lean way into James Gordon Jr. by calling him a psychopath to his face, and reveals that he's on a drug called Deaxmin 2, which is designed to treat psychopathy and re-establish connections in the brain. James Jr. reveals that the drug had been working and he really couldn't believe it, and didn't even want to join the trial in the first place. And before he could continue, Batman cuts him off and tells him that the only reason why he agreed to join the trial in the first place is because he thought it provides some way of escaping to kill more people. And even though the drug may be currently working on James Jr., Batman says for what it's worth, he doesn't want it to, because today Batman wants the old James, the murderer, the genius. Because according to issue number 2 in the last video, Joker reveals that James Jr. does have a connection to all this in some way. James tells Batman that ever since the drug started taking effect, the way he used to think, even his memories, are all a bunch of darkness. As Batman tries to jog his memory by showing a map of Gotham's current water system, he reveals to Jr. that he had developed a failsafe called Last Laugh that would close all waterways except one connected to a hidden and protected underground reservoir that can be loaded with any vaccine, any cure. But as we already know, the Batman Who Laughs had destroyed it when he had his face-off with Batman in Wayne Tower in the last issue. But there was still one last mechanism to activate the system, and Batman has to protect it. The only thing Batman needs now is to know which route the BWL is going to use to infect Gotham. And after hearing all of this, James Jr. tells Batman that he has no idea, to which Batman goes absolutely berserk on him and tells him that he would know because it used to be all he knew, and as a child all he did was think about it. He even brings up that James was a legend at 13 years old and that he had books and journals filled with roots and genius combinations. That even the Joker took notice and cited him as the best. Gordon then revealed that all those journals were submitted to GCPD years ago, but according to Batman, after checking, they're all gone, and that the Batman Who Laughs most likely already has them, and if not, he's gonna come for the source directly, which is exactly what happens, as during this conversation they see a red dot light up on a box in the room, and as Jim mistakes the dot for James Jr.'s scanner, they realize it's actually a laser dot from a gun, which gunshots start firing from outside the door as we see the Grim Knight enter the room and grab James Jr. and throw him outside the building. Batman then lunges at him, tackling him to the ground, and as they both get up, they get into a standoff with Batman holding his grapple gun and the Knight holding a full-on assault rifle. Batman then shoots his hook, intentionally missing, as I'm pretty sure from the images it latches onto a moving train and somehow the other end is already on the Knight's ankle as he proceeds to be pulled away from the encounter, allowing everyone to escape certain death from the insane assassin. Well, that's what we all thought, but as soon as Batman motions everyone to get into a disguised Batmobile, it turns out that the Grim Knight actually manages to escape from being pulled away from the train and shows up on the top of the Batmobile and tells Batman to look up into the sky as a plane passes by. He then tells Batman in real time that he will blow its starboard engine, which he does in a countdown from 3, and when it happens, he tells Batman to give Gordon over to him, or that plane with 72 passengers, with 42 of them by the way being Gothamites, will crash into Midtown and everyone will die. Jim then says that they won't hand James over to him, as Batman realizes that James isn't the Gordon that he's after, as the Grim Knight leaps over Batman and captures Jim Gordon without any real fight. The Grim Knight then tells him to follow him if he wants, but to make sure to collect the participation trophies, 72 of them to be exact, being scattered around Midtown. But as they watch Gordon get taken away, Batman tells James that the Last Laugh half until it was finished and handed over to the city, he had rigged the trigger so it'd need more than just Batman to initiate it. It would need his authorization and the authorization of someone he trusted as much as himself. That person being Jim, which is why they came after Jim instead of James. But now we're brought to the Iceberg Lounge where the Penguin seems to be playing a game of dice. And while he has his fun raging over the fact that one of his dice isn't made the way he wants, one of his workers come up to him insisting that there's a man outside that isn't leaving, and every time they ask him what he wants or who he is, all he says is, "I'm Batman," in whispery voices and laughs. And everyone that went outside to deal with him never returned, and that there's a huge amount of blood in the alleyway. Penguin of course gets scared out of his mind and tries to flee the scene, but is way too late as the Batman Who Laughs just enters the lounge on his own accord and sets the entire place on fire with one of Penguin's trick umbrellas and rigs it as a flamethrower. And while the BWL does this, he just goes on and on exposing every little secret that Penguin has that he knows, such as the drink umbrellas that sprays alcohol over the crowd and the defibrillators that are charged extra strong to electrocute enemies to make it look like a heart attack. He then pulls out the defibrillator from the wall, and with the floor becoming basically all water from the ice melting from the flamethrower, the BWL shocks the water, electrocuting everyone in the area, including the Penguin. And after this, he goes on to tell the Penguin that most people seem to think that Batman's last enemy on most worlds is the Joker, maybe the Riddler or Ra's, but in reality, it's the Penguin, as Penguin is the one that grows his crime empire to the point where Batman has to deal with it. And while he runs his speech along, a man that I think is an older version of Bruce Wayne comes into frame, very confused at what is going on and where he is. And as the Batman Who Laughs finishes his speech about the Penguin's rivalry with Bruce Wayne on this earth not going in his favor, we watch as he grabs the man, sticks a syringe in his neck, presumably taking some of his blood for the serum, and then kills him instantly by headbutting him using the spikes on his mask. And to end their interaction off, he tells Penguin to look into Matches Malone about his dice problem, which to all of you that don't know is one of Batman's undercover identities that he uses to infiltrate the bases of his rogues, and in this case worked under the Penguin to gain intel. But with that all and done with, we are now brought to Batman and James Jr. somewhere beneath Gotham City, where Batman asks James once again to figure out which pipeline under Gotham the Batman Who Laughs is going to use to infect Gotham's waterways. James then once again says that he doesn't know and isn't able to help, to which Batman freaks out and curses James to figure it out, to which James tries to hold him down and tells him he'll try. Batman then apologizes and tells him that he wasn't ready for him to come back, not this soon. James then makes a realization and asks Batman if he had got him. Batman then asks him what he's talking about, to which James responds asking if he got him with whatever is in the Batman Who Laughs. Batman then asks how he knew this, to which James tells him that he might not be able to think like he used to, but he knows that voice, the flatness deep inside. He says he remembers trying to hide it, practicing, seeing if he could fool his father. He then asks Batman if his father is going to shut down his program, to which Batman tells him yes, and that Jim had filed the paperwork for it last week. And right before they could continue their conversation, Batman gets interrupted by Alfred on his comms in a distressing manner. Batman asks him what's wrong, to which Alfred tells him that it's the Joker. He tells him that the Joker was drugged so heavily he shouldn't have been able to see, move, or talk, and yet just moments ago he got up and kept saying, "You're breaking my heart," as Joker proceeded to attack him and ran off shrieking or laughing or wailing. James then asks Batman what happened, to which Batman tells him what happened is that James is right, and everyone is right for that matter. Everyone except himself, to which we're brought back to Wayne Manor, where we see Alfred called by an alert by Batman in the Batcave. But when he tries to enter, his access is denied. Alfred then heads outside to the original access point of the cave, to which this time it works and calls for Bruce in the cave. And once he enters, he sees all the antitoxins for the Joker's toxin being absolutely smashed to bits. Bruce then asks him what he needs, to which Alfred asks him why he's down there and why his access is locked from the Batcave and that he's there to help figure out a plan. Bruce then laughs and says, "That's the thing, maybe the plan is all wrong, maybe it's always been wrong." Alfred, confused, asks Bruce what he's even saying, and Bruce replies saying that he was there when he made it, his big plan to climb out of the dark, to be brave. But what does that mean? He didn't steal the cave, kill the bat, he climbed out, kept climbing over and over as he continues to chuckle mid-sentence. He then questions what he even is, because even though he helps people in the city climb out of the darkness, people still die. Alfred then asks Bruce what he's making and tells him that Batman will work, and Batman is and forever will be the plan, to which Bruce says not anymore, not with the Batman Who Laughs in the equation, as Bruce says he's sorry to Alfred in the same voice as the Batman Who Laughs, as we watch and to end the issue off with Batman completely being overcome with the Joker toxin, as we see him wearing the same same visor that the Batman Who Laughs wears, which he built himself, as he says in the closing words, "But plans change," which ends the third issue of the story and this video for now. And as we get deeper into the story, we start to see Batman's descent into madness and see how the Batman Who Laughs' plans fall into place, with the city of Gotham still under grave danger. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button because I post videos just like this one every single week, and hit the notification bell to keep up with my weekly upload because it helps me out a lot. Click on the bat symbol to check out my last video upload on this channel, and click on the video to wrap that to check out a video I think you'd like. Because if you like this one, you'll definitely like that video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week with another video. Peace!